What if I told you that you can eat chocolate every single day and still lose weight, reduce your belly fat, improve your cardiovascular health, and feel more satisfied than you ever did on a restrictive diet that banned all your favorite foods? You'd probably think I'm lying, because for decades the fitness and diet industry has painted chocolate as the ultimate enemy, the forbidden food, the thing you're only allowed to have as a cheat meal once a week if you've been good, the treat that sabotages your progress and destroys your willpower. But here's the truth that changes everything. Chocolate is not the problem. The type of chocolate, the amount you eat, the timing of when you eat it, and what you pair it with, that's what matters. And when you understand the science behind how chocolate actually affects your metabolism, your hormones, and your brain, you can strategically use it as a tool for fat loss instead of treating it like a guilty pleasure that derails your progress. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what happens to your body when you eat chocolate every day, the good, the surprising, and the conditions that make it work. But I need to be absolutely clear from the start, this is not about eating a family-size bar of milk chocolate every night and expecting to lose weight. That's not science, that's fantasy. This is about understanding how specific types of chocolate, consumed in specific amounts at specific times, can actually support fat loss, reduce cravings, improve insulin sensitivity, and make your diet sustainable for the long term instead of a miserable battle of willpower. Before we talk about what happens when you eat chocolate daily, you need to understand that not all chocolate is created equal. In fact, there are three completely different categories of chocolate, and only one of them has the potential to support weight loss and metabolic health. The first category is milk chocolate. This is what most people think of when they hear the word chocolate: Hershey's bars, Snickers, Milky Way, Kit Kat. Milk chocolate typically contains only 10 to 20% actual cocoa. The rest is sugar, milk solids, and vegetable oils. A standard milk chocolate bar contains about 25 to 30 grams of sugar per serving, which is more sugar than a glazed donut. When you eat milk chocolate, you're essentially eating candy with a small amount of cocoa flavoring. It spikes your blood sugar rapidly, floods your system with insulin, and triggers the same addictive dopamine response as any other high-sugar processed food. Milk chocolate will not help you lose weight. It will do the opposite. The second category is white chocolate. White chocolate isn't even real chocolate. It contains zero cocoa solids. It's made from cocoa butter, sugar, and milk. It has none of the beneficial compounds found in actual chocolate. It's pure sugar and fat, with no antioxidants, no flavonoids, no magnesium, and no metabolic benefits whatsoever. White chocolate is nutritionally identical to eating frosting. Skip it entirely. The third category is dark chocolate, specifically dark chocolate with a cocoa content of 70% or higher. This is the only type of chocolate that has legitimate metabolic and cardiovascular benefits. Dark chocolate with 70 to 85% cocoa contains powerful antioxidants called flavonoids, specifically epicatechin and catechin, which improve blood flow, reduce inflammation, and enhance insulin sensitivity. It contains theobromine, a mild stimulant that increases energy expenditure and suppresses appetite. It's rich in magnesium, iron, copper, and manganese. And because it contains much less sugar than milk chocolate, typically only 5 to 10 grams per serving, it doesn't cause the dramatic blood sugar and insulin spikes that promote fat storage. When I talk about eating chocolate every day and losing weight, I am talking exclusively about dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa content. Nothing else qualifies. Now, let me walk you through exactly what happens to your body when you eat a controlled amount of high-quality dark chocolate every single day for 30 days while maintaining a proper calorie deficit and balanced diet. The first and most surprising benefit is appetite suppression. Dark chocolate contains fiber and fat, both of which slow gastric emptying and increase satiety. 1 ounce of 85% dark chocolate contains about 3 grams of fiber and 12 grams of fat. When you eat it slowly, allowing it to melt on your tongue, it sends powerful satiety signals to your brain through both mechanical stretch receptors in your stomach and hormonal signals like GLP-1 and cholecystokinin. Studies show that people who eat a small amount of dark chocolate 20 minutes before a meal consume fewer total calories out that meal because they feel satisfied faster. The bitterness of dark chocolate naturally limits how much you want to eat, unlike milk chocolate, which is engineered to be hyper-palatable and trigger overconsumption. The second benefit is improved insulin sensitivity. This sounds counterintuitive because we've been conditioned to think all chocolate raises blood sugar and promotes fat storage. But the flavonoids in dark chocolate, particularly epicatechin, have been shown in multiple clinical studies to improve insulin receptor function at the cellular level. When your cells are more sensitive to insulin, your pancreas doesn't have to produce as much insulin to clear glucose from your blood. Lower insulin levels mean more time spent in fat-burning mode instead of fat storage mode. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that daily consumption of dark chocolate for 2 weeks significantly improved insulin sensitivity in healthy adults compared to a control group. The third benefit is reduced inflammation and cortisol. Chronic inflammation and elevated cortisol are 2 of the primary drivers of visceral fat accumulation, especially around the midsection. Dark chocolate is one of the most antioxidant-rich foods on the planet, with an ORAC score higher than blueberries, acai berries, and most superfoods. The polyphenols in dark chocolate reduce inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein and interleukin-6. They also help regulate cortisol by supporting adrenal function and reducing oxidative stress. When inflammation and cortisol are lower, your body feels safer releasing stored fat instead of hoarding it as an emergency reserve. The fifth benefit, and this is perhaps the most important for long-term weight loss success, is psychological satisfaction and diet adherence. The number 1 reason diets fail is not lack of knowledge, it's lack of adherence. People can't sustain restrictive diets that eliminate all the foods they love. They white-knuckle their way through weeks of deprivation, then eventually crack and binge on everything they've been avoiding. But when you build a small amount of dark chocolate into your daily routine, you eliminate that sense of deprivation. You have something to look forward to every day. You satisfy your craving for something sweet without derailing your progress. This dramatically increases the likelihood that you'll stick to your diet for months instead of days. But here's where most people make critical mistakes that sabotage these benefits. They buy dark chocolate, get excited, and then eat half a bar in one sitting because it tastes good and they rationalize that it's healthy. Or they eat it randomly throughout the day whenever they feel a craving. Or they pair it with other high-calorie foods that push them into a calorie surplus. Let me give you the exact protocol for eating chocolate daily while losing weight. First, choose dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa content, ideally 85%. The higher the cocoa percentage, the more beneficial compounds and the less sugar. Look for chocolate where the first ingredient is cocoa mass or cocoa solids, not sugar. Avoid chocolate with added milk solids, vegetable oils, or artificial flavors. Brands like Lindt Excellent 85%, Green and Black's Organic Dark 85%, or Alter Eco Deep Dark are good options. Second, control your portions strictly. 1 ounce, approximately 3 to 4 small squares, is the sweet spot. That's about 150 to 170 calories, depending on the cocoa percentage. Weigh it on a food scale if you need to. Do not eyeball it. Do not eat straight from the bar. Break off your portion, put the rest away, and eat slowly and mindfully. Let each piece melt on your tongue. Savor it. Make it last 5 to 10 minutes. This maximizes satisfaction and prevents mindless overconsumption. Third, time it strategically. The best time to eat dark chocolate is either 20 minutes before dinner to suppress your appetite and reduce total meal calories, or as a deliberate dessert after dinner to signal the end of your eating window and prevent late-night snacking. Do not eat chocolate in the morning with coffee on an empty stomach because it can spike cortisol when cortisol is already naturally elevated. Do not eat it randomly throughout the day as a snack because that keeps your insulin elevated and prevents fat burning. Fourth, account for the calories. Dark chocolate is not a free food. 1 ounce contains 150 to 170 calories. You must include those calories in your total daily intake. If you're eating 1,800 calories per day to lose weight, and you add 170 calories of chocolate without removing 170 calories elsewhere, you're now eating 1,970 calories, and you may not be in a deficit anymore. Subtract those chocolate calories from your carb or fat allowance for the day. Most people find it easiest to reduce their dinner carbs slightly to make room for the chocolate. Fifth, pair it intelligently. Dark chocolate pairs extremely well with black coffee, which enhances the bitter flavor profile and provides additional metabolic benefits through caffeine and chlorogenic acid. It also pairs well with a small handful of nuts like almonds or walnuts, which add protein, fiber, and healthy fats that further increase satiety. What it should not be paired with is milk, sugar, or other sweets, which would negate the benefits and spike insulin. Now, let me address the most common concerns and questions people have about eating chocolate daily while trying to lose weight. Won't the sugar in dark chocolate prevent fat loss? Dark chocolate with 85% cocoa contains only about 6 to 8 grams of sugar per ounce. That's roughly the same amount of sugar in a small apple. In the context of a balanced diet with controlled total calories, that small amount of sugar is not going to prevent fat loss, especially when it's consumed with fiber and fat that slow absorption. The issue is never one small source of sugar. The issue is cumulative sugar intake from all sources throughout the day. What if I can't stop at 1 ounce? Then you're probably buying chocolate that's too sweet, like 70% instead of 85%. Or you're eating too quickly without being mindful. Or you're trying to use chocolate to fill an emotional void instead of genuine hunger. If you genuinely cannot control your portions with chocolate, then it's better to skip it entirely and find other ways to create diet satisfaction, like berries with whipped cream or Greek yogurt with cinnamon. Can I eat chocolate and still do keto or low carb? Yes. 1 ounce of 85% dark chocolate contains about 8 to 10 grams of net carbs after subtracting fiber. That fits easily into a ketogenic diet that allows 20 to 30 grams of carbs, or a low-carb diet that allows 50 to 100 grams. Just account for it in your daily macros. Will eating chocolate every day make me addicted to sugar? No, if you're eating real dark chocolate with minimal sugar. The bitterness naturally limits consumption and doesn't trigger the same dopamine reward cascade as hyperpalatable milk chocolate or candy. In fact, many people find that eating a small amount of dark chocolate daily actually reduces their cravings for high-sugar desserts because they feel psychologically satisfied. Here's what a typical day looks like when you successfully integrate dark chocolate into a fat loss diet. You wake up, drink water, eat a high-protein breakfast, go about your day. You train in the afternoon or evening. You eat a balanced dinner with protein, vegetables, and moderate carbs. 20 minutes before dinner or immediately after, you eat 1 ounce of 85% dark chocolate slowly and mindfully. You drink black coffee or herbal tea. You feel satisfied. You don't crave anything else for the rest of the night. You go to bed in a calorie deficit. You wake up the next day and repeat. Over weeks and months, the scale goes down, your waist circumference shrinks, and you never felt deprived. Eating chocolate every day and losing weight at the same time is not a gimmick. It's not too good to be true. It's strategic nutrition. It's understanding that sustainable fat loss is not about eliminating everything you enjoy. It's about making intelligent choices, controlling portions, timing nutrients properly, and here's what a typical day looks like when you successfully integrate dark chocolate into a fat loss diet. You wake up, drink water, eat a high-protein breakfast, go about your day. You train in the afternoon or evening. You eat a balanced dinner with protein, vegetables, and moderate carbs. 20 minutes before dinner or immediately after, you eat 1 ounce of 85% dark chocolate slowly and mindfully. You drink black coffee or herbal tea. You feel satisfied. You don't crave anything else for the rest of the night. You go to bed in a calorie deficit. You wake up the next day and repeat. Over weeks and months, the scale goes down, your waist circumference shrinks, and you never felt deprived. Eating chocolate every day and losing weight at the same time is not a gimmick. It's not too good to be true. It's strategic nutrition. It's understanding that sustainable fat loss is not about eliminating everything you enjoy. It's about making intelligent choices, controlling portions, timing nutrients properly, and creating a lifestyle you can maintain forever instead of a temporary diet you suffer through. Dark chocolate is not a magic fat loss food. It will not burn belly fat on its own, but when used correctly as part of a well-structured diet, it provides legitimate metabolic benefits, reduces cravings, improves adherence, and makes the entire process significantly more enjoyable and sustainable. So yes, you can eat chocolate every single day and lose weight at the same time. Just make sure it's the right chocolate, the right amount, at the right time, for the right reasons.